Okay, we have solving with proportions, which is very much going to be just like writing ratios. Our first step is to label what we're working with. So label our numbers and then simply match your numbers or your information to their label. All right, so our first example, we have the ratio of boys to girls. The ratio of boys to girls in the class is 3:2. If there are 15 boys, how many girls are there in class? Okay, so again, boys to girls, the order is incredibly important. Boys came first, so that's going to represent our 3. So we've got boys to girls, just like we had with ratios, is 3:2. If there are 15 boys, all right, so we just match it up. Boys, boys. We don't do anything fancy, right? We talked about ratios, proportions are really just fancy fractions. So we go from what we know to what we don't. So we know what direction we're moving in. How do we get from 3 to 15? Multiply by 5. And just like equivalent fractions, what we do up top, we've got to do on the bottom. So 2 times 5 gives us 10. So our final answer is that there are 10 girls in that class. Okay, same thing for this next one. We have the ratio of chocolates to lollipops is 2:5. Does order matter? Yes. So that first one's going to be chocolates. If there are 20 lollipops, how many chocolates are there? All right, first step, label chocolates to lollipops. 2:5, 2:5. 20 lollipops, so match it up. Lollipops, lollipops, lollipops. We go from what we know to what we don't, just creating equivalent fractions. How do we get from 5 to 20? Times 4, so we do the same thing on the top. 2 times 4 is 8, so we have 8 chocolates. Right? Give yourself a little label to make sure you actually answered the question being asked. All right, the ratio of dead plants to live plants, typo. And Miss Contreras, that's me, my maiden name, is 3:2. All right, so dead to live. And that sounds about right. I am the person that has killed a cactus. So more dead plants than live plants, unfortunately. Order matters, dead to live. So we've got 3:2. If there are 4 live plants, match it up. Live, live, live. We're just working with proportions, ratios, fractions, right? Equivalent fractions. Go from what you know to what you don't. How do you get from 2 to 4? Just double it, times 2. Same thing up top. How many dead plants do I have? 6 dead plants. And if you look in our classroom, we probably have some of those in our classroom. Yikes. Okay, pizza. The cost of 6 pizzas is $30. How much will 9 pizzas cost? Okay, so this one doesn't have an actual like ratio sentence like we had earlier, the ratio of dead to live plants, but we do have information that we can create a ratio table, right? So we're just going to label the numbers we have. We have 6 pizzas and $30. So pizza and dollars. And we can buy 6 pizzas for $30. And we're trying to figure out, well, how much will 9 pizzas cost? Well, pizza, pizza, pizza. Okay. There's 2 ways that we can tackle this. Show you one and then we'll do another. So we can, if we look, we go from what we know to what we don't. I can't go from 6 to 9. So maybe I try a plan B. Can I go from what I know to what I don't in this direction? Can I go from 6 to 30? And what we'll notice is that we can. How do we get from 6 to 30? Times 5 times 5. So it's going to be $45. So there's one way that it shook out. It's not always going to have the plan B like that works. So maybe we need a plan C. Okay, so pizza, to money, 6 pizzas for $30. Now, since I can't get to 9, just like when we were working with our fraction unit, we can still simplify this and maybe be able to scale our simplified fraction up to 9. So essentially, taking a middle step, right? I can divide both of these guys by 2, and if I divide 6 by 2, I get 3, and if we divide 30 by 2, we get 15. And now we have a number that we can scale up to 9, right? Times 3. 15 times 3 is 45. So either way, we ended up with the same answer, just got there a different route. Okay, last 2. The ratio of squirrels to birds and Miss Contreras, let me read that again. The ratio of squirrels to birds Miss Contreras counted in her backyard was 2 to 3. Squirrels to birds. 2, 2, 3. If she counted 20 animals total, how many were squirrels? 20 animals total. All right, squirrels to birds is 2 to 3. Okay. The other information we have in our story is this 20. Is this 20 squirrels? Is this 20 birds? No, this 20 represents all of them, the total. So since it represents the total, we need a new label. We're gonna add a T for total at the bottom, okay? And now here's where it gets a little tricky. If we put our 20 right here under the numbers we have, we would be saying that 2 plus 3 equals 20, which is totally bogus. 2 plus 3 is 5. So our total is going to go in our column where we're trying to figure out how many birds and squirrels we actually have. All right, so again, this is the information from our story. We had to be able to place this 5 in the appropriate place just by adding up that squirrel and birds. All right, and then we do the same thing. Go from what you know to what you don't. To get from 5 to 20, we multiply by 4, so we're going to do that. All of these up here. My question is asking for squirrels, so really I just need to find squirrels. 2 times 4 is 8. 8. How do you spell squirrels? R-R-E-L-S. Squirrels. Okay. Leo, Bonham, and Piper. Fun story. Leo and Bonham are my dogs, and Piper is Leo's stuffed animal friend. He takes her everywhere. It's pretty cute. Anyway, Leo, Bonham, and Piper earned a total of $48 doing yard work. They decided to split the money in a ratio of 7 to 3 to 2. How much did each person earn? Well, my first question is, how do I know who earned 7 parts and 3 parts and 2 parts? Go back to your first important piece of information. Order matters. The order that they're listed in the story is going to match up to our ratio. So we've got Leo and Bonham and Piper in a ratio of 7 to 3 to 2. And we also know that they earned a total of $48. Did Leo earn it? Nope. Did Bonham? Nope. Did Piper? No. It's a total, just like we had in problem number 5. So we need a new little label. And again, right, if I were to place that total of 48 right here, I would be saying 7 plus 3 plus 12 equals 48, which is totally false. 7 plus 3 plus 2 equals 12. Then we can place our 48 over here, again, to be that connection for how we're getting from what we know to what we don't. We get from 12 to 48 by multiplying by 4. And I want to know how much each person earned, so I am going to have to figure out each of those just by multiplying them by 4. And what's awesome is we can check. 28 plus 12 plus 8, once we add all this up, should equal 48, and it does. All right, so we can use our table to kind of list that out. All right, what you're gonna do next are the practice problems on the next page, doing this exact same thing, right? Paying attention to the ratio in your story, labeling, plugging in your numbers, and then solving the problem. Okay, so what I'm gonna have you do is push pause and answer the 5 questions on the next page. Be sure to read very carefully. They sound like very, very similar problems, but they're all different. You're gonna get different answers for everything and some slightly different setups, okay? So you have 5 problems to do. After you complete them, press play again, and the answers are gonna be up for you to check. So go ahead and push pause. Then if you're ready to check, one at a time. All right, so there we go. Correct anything that you goofed on. Ask for help when you need it. The big takeaways here are please, please, please make sure that you pay attention to the order of things in the story, write down your labels, and match up your information. And then, of course, be mindful of those totals and putting things just in the right places.